It is exactly 9 o'clock local time. Good evening, and I hope you've had a wonderful Utuma Day. Welcome to the Daily Report on your authoritative channel TV 47. My name is George Maringa. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine Simaloy. Every Tuesday we have the People's Court, but tonight we shall not be having the program, but we invite you to visit our YouTube channel to see the previous and past episodes of the People's Court, because tonight I am alone. Victor Muyakane and Linda Alela are elsewhere trying, or of course, in earnest, getting you the latest or rather fresh conversations that we shall be bringing you next week on the People's Court. But of course, a lot has been happening tonight. Today being Utuma Day. By the way, were you confused as to whether it is Utuma Day or Huduma Day? There has been that confusion. We did see government agencies and cabinet secretaries wishing people a happy Huduma Day, but of course, it is Utuma Day. We hope that we've had a wonderful one. We invite you to join us on our social media platforms at TV47 News, at George Maringa _. Use the hashtag Daily Report. We'll be sampling your feedback as we move along in this bulletin. But first, let's bring you up to date with some of the top stories making headlines tonight. Tonight, Kenyans observe first ever Utamaduni Day.
Sisi wananchi inatuchanganya sana, kama hatuelewi ni wapi sasa, hatuelewi ni utamaduni ambaye hata serikali yenyewe haijaambia wananchi.
Amid confusion on the day being celebrated. Tonight, we tell you why President William Ruto's just concluded Nyanza tour and the ongoing Bomas talks are likely to be a game changer in the 2027 race, and why Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua should be concerned.
But the truth is, everybody knew Ruto was talking about Gachagua. So he's now comfortable enough in my assessment to be able to call Gachagua's bluff. And those what he will do is to bring Kimani Ichung'wah and Ndindi Nyoro and Alice Wahome or some of these people close, so that the moment he gets very cold to us regarding Gachagua, he's comfortable.
2009 to 2010, it came to schizophrenia. Then after nimejifungua, I became bipolar mood disorder. Ile mse anaweza ongea ama asikuongelesha.
And on our special report tonight, we tell you of tales of the catastrophic effects of mental health illnesses and how stigma remains the big elephant in the mental health room.
It is now easier to report and surrender. Visit www.ufaa.go.ke and get started. Beat the November 1st deadline. It is your turn to surrender and report qualifying unclaimed financial assets.
Indeed, a lot is making the headlines tonight. We thank you for joining us. As always, it is a pleasure. We are streaming on terrestrial platforms as well as on our website and YouTube channel. It is always a pleasure to have you join us. My name is George Maringa, and language interpreter is Catherine Simaloy. Kenya has today celebrated Utamaduni Day, a day when we celebrate the beauty and diversity of our cultures, learn from each other whilst building bridges of understanding. The day was commemorated in style at the Bomas of Kenya, where different ethnic groups showcased their rich culture through songs, dance and food. Elizabeth Atieno was present at the event and opens our broadcast tonight with that report.
The Ma community, considered as the poster boys of Kenya's culture, had the first dance with their rhythmic hummings and graceful leaps, inviting guests to the Bomas of Kenya, where over 44 ethnic groups came together to celebrate the Utamaduni Day. Then came the Abaluya community with the traditional Maveka and Isukuti dance, where shoulders are thoroughly shaken to the syncopated and frenetic drummings of the Abengo. From the Luya, we head to the neighboring Luo community, where the proud and resplendent Ramogi dancers, donned in their traditional attire like ostrich feathers, ankle shakers, and the fly whisk, showcased their traditional dance performance full of mid-tempo swing and jiving. And of course, we cannot exit the Nyanza region without getting some energetic and vigorous traditional performance from the Kuria community. In the coast, the Taita community performed their famous Mwazindika traditional dance, which is normally performed on happy occasions like weddings, harvest season, and childbirth. From the coast to the Rift Valley, the Kalenjin lit up the stage with a Kambakta traditional dance with attires like sonek, taet, nariet, among others. The First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto, CSS Moses Kuria Penina Malonza, and PS Umi Bashir graced the celebrations, where they were able to take part in the traditional song, dance, and also taste a variety of traditional meals from different cultures.
Utamaduni Day is a very special day for our country, as over 44 ethnic groups come together to celebrate the diversity of cultures. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47 from the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that. By the way, did you, as our viewer, attend the event at Bomas? We'd love to hear from you. Our SMS line is on your screen. Now, what is the history of Utamaduni Day? How did it get to be celebrated on the 10th of October? Formerly Moi Day, today Kenyans celebrated this day amid confusion of whether it was a Huduma Day or Utamaduni Day. Our reporter Sheila Chelangat delves deep into how this day came to be.
The first Utamaduni Day celebration. Pomp and color showcased at the Bomas of Kenya, displaying the country's diverse heritage and culture of more than 45 communities that call Kenya home. But amidst the celebration, one question lingered. Is the 10th of October Huduma Day or Utamaduni Day or Moi Day?
Tukiwa watoto tulikuwa tunajua Moi Day ni siku ya sherehe ambayo ilikuwa tunaenda stadium, lakini wakaitoa, wamekuja wameleta kwa hii katiba mpya, wanasema saizi inaitwa huduma. Tena wamerudi wanasema tena ni Utamaduni Day, ambayo kwa sisi wananchi inatuchanganya sana kama.
Previously, 10th October marked Moi Day. This was changed following the adoption of the new constitution in 2010, paving way to a petition from one Gregory Nyauchi challenging the removal of Moi Day as a public holiday, arguing that it denied employees from receiving their benefits as stipulated in the Employment Act. Also, he argued that Kenya's second president, Daniel Arap Moi, deserved to be honored just like his predecessor, Jomo Kenyatta. The verdict of the court indicating that the day needed to be reinstated as a public holiday. Therefore, in 2019, former President Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet led the resolution and approval to have this day renamed as Huduma Day, the day dedicated to celebrate service and volunteerism. And among other proposals, the 26th of December, which is usually Boxing Day, was amended to Utamaduni Day to commemorate the rich culture and diversity. However, since an internationally recognized holiday cannot be renamed, Utamaduni Day had to be rescheduled, and a year later, this was settled for the 10th of October.
We reimagined and redefined as a celebration of our rich cultural heritage. However, this is the first time that an actual cultural celebration has been done.
Happy Utamaduni Day. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Nairobi.
Thank you, Sheila, for that, and I hope the confusion is now over. Various counties across the country joined in marking this year's Utamaduni Day, whose main focus is on public engagement, food festival, and cultural performances. In Cliffy South Sub-County, residents gathered in Chonyi to celebrate as they expressed fears of a dying culture that requires immediate measures to preserve. Andrin Kilemi reports.
Kenyan communities risk losing their cultural identities unless a concerted effort is made to preserve this. This was the message across different counties as they joined in celebrating Utamaduni Day, a day that intends to celebrate Kenya's incredibly diverse cultures and rich heritage. To mark Utamaduni Day, soapstone covers in Siia County expressed the need for the local community to preserve its rich cultural history for posterity through artifacts.
Maybe we also need to have events like Mogusi. There are those things we used to call Ribina, where if maybe the rain is not there, people had to go and bring rain by wrestling. Those are things we need to regain back so that we have a history as a community.
Led by Ombasa Apepo, a former MCA, now businessman, the covers suggested that community heroes and heroines, including those who excelled in sports, ought to be celebrated by being engraved in the unique stone.
And I want to encourage even our county government. Can we come up with a big museum at the county level where we can be having things like spears? Our heroes can also be remembered.
In Kilifi South Sub-County, residents gathered in Chonyi to celebrate, but the celebrations were marked by concerns over a dying culture that they say requires immediate measures to preserve.
Vijana wa leo, kwa kuwa utamaduni wengine wanataka, wengine hawataki kufundishwa utamaduni. Na hii ni elimu ya wazee wa zamani ambao ni mababu, lakini watoto sasa wameshaharibika. Mwanzo wa kuharibika watoto kuanzia makanisa ambayo yameenea kila pahali, makanisa ambayo haina imani na haina mwelekeo. Wameacha utamaduni ambao huu ndio ambao una mwelekeo mzuri, kwa sababu mtoto akizaliwa anawekwa mlangoni, aitwe jina, ashikwe shikio na babu yake. Leo hakuna. Mnasema ati sharehe ya harusi ya mtoto mchanga leo inaenda kufanywa kanisani na vitabu. Ule ni uzungu.
The holiday underwent a transformation in 2020, evolving from Moi Day to Huduma Day, then later was renamed to Utamaduni Day to emphasize the celebration of Kenya's diverse culture. Andrin Kilemi, TV 47.
Absolutely, and it is a Maasai proverb that says a man without culture is like a zebra without its stripes. Following the conclusion of the public hearings and technical committee deliberations, the National Dialogue Committee will this Wednesday determine the next course of action at the Bomas of Kenya and perhaps set their agenda to determine how to resolve unresolved difficulties. As Mike Kagwongo now reports, both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio representatives still have contentious issues, among them the cost of living and IEBC reconstitution agenda.
We cannot force people to come before this court.
As the clock ticks towards the conclusion of the 60-day timeline for the completion of the bipartisan talks, the committee is debating the grievances that the opposition has raised with the government. The bipartisan committee invited members of the public to submit their memoranda on various issues, including outstanding constitutional matters, electoral justice and related matters, entrenching funds into the constitution, establishment and entrenchment of state offices and fidelity to political parties, and the law on multi-party democracy. According to observers, if political interests and suggestions made by various stakeholders to the National Dialogue Committee over the past 2 weeks are included in the final recommendations, Kenyans are therefore likely to have a referendum.
Which route to follow is provided for in Article 255 that says that any matter that touches on sovereignty of the people, term limit of the president, Bill of Rights, structure of devolution, functions of parliament, and all the commissions under Chapter 15, that issue must go to the people through a referendum. We are aware that the people of Kenya, both sides, have produced issues at NADCO that will require referendum, and therefore can tell you confidently that there are certain issues that for them to be addressed fully they will have to go to a referendum.
2 of the 5 subject areas on which all interested parties were required to submit memos called for constitutional modifications. The biggest disagreement in the negotiations is the audit of the presidential election from last year. UDA stated earlier that they will be amenable to an audit of the election's conduct rather than its outcome.
We have proposed as Azimio that we are not only going for an audit, no, we are going for forensic audit and system audit. That means we are going to look at, we look at the entire IEBC infrastructure.
Talking about an audit of the presidential election, so what? As in what will they find out?
But even as the talk set to resume Wednesday, the National Assembly Finance and Planning Committee's chairperson Molo MP Kuria Kimani is of the opinion that the 10-member committee is wasting Kenyans' time instead of taking the contentious submissions before the House Business Committee for deliberations.
As in what outcome will it possibly bring? If we are talking about the composition of IBC, the approval of IBC will be done through the National Assembly. So why are they going to discuss the composition of IBC in Bomas instead of discussing it in the floor of the National Assembly, where they are elected to talk?
But if submitted ideas are passed, they will set the stage for a referendum to address specific concerns about creation of new counties and other elements. The cost of living is also Azimio la Umoja One Kenya's demands. According to Azimio, this is attributed to high tax proposals occasioned by approval of Finance Act, with Azimio also threatening that the talks shall not see the light of the day should this fail to be agreed on. According to the opposition, defying party policies in exchange for meager favors from those in power will not be accepted in the party.
If there is any issue that the members of parliament feel that they are no longer comfortable in their original party and they want to move, they should resign and seek fresh mandate.
We stop this behavior of political parties being personal properties of some people to having parties that are owned by the members.
Before the disagreements resurfaced as the discussions went on, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza appeared to have finally given up their staunch opinions. However, the committee may seek an additional time of 30 days to conclude the matter, with only 20 days left to call it a day on this second phase. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike, for that. Tonight, President William Ruto's 4-day tour of the Nyanza region, which concluded on Monday, has raised questions on whether his latest charm offensive to the region will pay off in 2027. The president, who unleashed a bag of goodies to the Nyanza region, did not shy away from expressing his interest to win the region for the 2027 poll. Pundits, among them Professor Harambe Stars, say the president's tour could be a game changer on his re-election in 2027. Apollo Kamau now reports.
President William Ruto's 4-day tour of Raila Odinga's political backyard of Nyanza, where he launched several infrastructure projects in the traditional opposition zone, had all the hallmarks of his 2027 re-election game plan, begging the question on whether his latest charm offensive can win Nyanza from Odinga.
Nipatia kwambo kitu huko kwetu, hata nyinyi munipatie kitu hapa nyumbani. Ndio ikuwe fair, ama namna gani? Tumekubaliana? Wale wanasema tumekubaliana, nione.
Tutaenda draw next time. Agomba ufanye half term na wewe ufanye half term.
Watu wa Kisumu.
Political analyst Haman Manyora says the president's successful tour and the ongoing bipartisan talks at the Bomas of Kenya, which Odinga has refrained from commenting on until they are concluded, may be a pointer of a deal in the offing if it has not happened already.
President Ruto will get the votes of Nyanza in 2027. It will depend on the dynamics. It will depend on where Raila will stand. It will depend on what we get from Bomas. So in the event he gets a nod from Raila, which is most likely, there should be no problem. Because I'm thinking Bomas may produce a certain structure of government that it can accommodate about 5 to 6 people. So I have this feeling 2027 may be a year of compromise. Maybe a year where we have negotiated democracy, where Raila tells Ruto, okay, fine, we pass this in Bomas, Kalonzo gets this, maybe Mimi, I get this, somebody else gets this, and you go to State House unopposed. That's what I suspect.
Since Friday, the president was received by all the Luo Nyanza governors, anchored his message to the region on his past relationship with Odinga, including his contribution to making Odinga Prime Minister. He further assured the region that it will not be discriminated in development, terming the move as backward and primitive, a comment seen as a sly backhand at Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's political stand of shareholders first.
It is primitive and backwards for anybody to imagine that any region of Kenya cannot get development on account of how they voted. That is not right. That is not correct.
Because my reading of the politics of this country is that Raila has a deal with Ruto. And that deal, from my reading, may not have much space for Rigathi Gachagua. And remember also, Ruto has been endearing himself through action and word and everything, through deed and he is comfortable that he has Western. He's comfortable that Nyanza is not hostile to him. By the way, the Luos are not hostile to Ruto. They have never been. You see, small disagreements about elections. But they have never been. There's no hatred like the Luos will have against somebody like Uhuru before the handshake.
Despite the president gaining ground in what is now his 4th trip to Nyanza, Odinga's allies have downplayed the tour, saying Luo Nyanza remains Odinga's stronghold, asserting that previous attempts by former presidents to win the region through development projects have not been fruitful.
Lazima mutanizoea. Ndio. Kwa sababu hata mimi nimejipanga kuwazoea. Si namna hiyo? Kwa sababu hakuna rais mwingine, rais ni mimi.
Apart from development, President Ruto's return trip to the region is also motivated by lack of a clear successor to Odinga, making Luo Nyanza a potential hunting ground for votes as Odinga's political career enters its sunset years. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Thank you, Apollo, for that. Stakeholders in the mental health sector have urged the government to include mental health treatment and management in the soon-to-be-launched universal health coverage. According to stakeholders, the government should not only increase funding in the sector, but also empower community health promoters to support mental health services at the grassroots level.
According to the stakeholders, the 100,000-strong community health promoters should be empowered to educate Kenyans on mental illnesses as well as refer those who might require care.
We need to train more than 100,000 community health promoters on mental health to enable them to promote well-being, mental well-being, undertake community-level screening, and refer persons with mental illness to facilities.
The stakeholders, who say funding remains a big hindrance in the sector, say mental health patients should be covered in the Social Health Insurance Fund as part of indigence in order to increase access to mental health services.
Our patients are not able to access mental health services, those who have NHIF card. If we can be allowed as a hospital to offer outpatient services paid by NHIF, our patients will really benefit.
Elsewhere, leaders from Kiambu County have urged both the national and county governments to ensure that all 47 counties have mental health focal points to support mental health treatment and management at the grassroots level. The leaders were speaking during the World Mental Health Day commemorations at the county.
Tunaomba tupate pesa hata tukishikiana na county government ama national government tuweze kufungua ili vijana wale ambao wameamua kuacha tuweze kuwasaidia.
Zainab Mohamed, TV47.
Thank you, Zainab, for that. And statistics from the Ministry of Health show that 1 in 4 persons seeking outpatient services in Kenya are suffering from mental illness, a number that is feared to increase in the near future. And as Kenya joins the world in commemorating World World Mental Health Day, stakeholders in the health sector are now urging the government to increase budgetary allocation on mental health as well as create awareness about the condition to reduce stigma that is associated with it. Violet Auma caught with a bipolar patient in Kakamega County and gives us an in-depth story on this condition that is associated to the numerous suicide cases in the country.
Love and strength for each new day.
I visited Paulina Mudavi at her home in Munzejwe village on the outskirts of Kakamega town. From far you may not tell that Pauline is suffering from a mental illness.
Nyanza mania. Then 2009 to 2010 it came to schizophrenia. Then after nimejifungua I became bipolar mood disorder. Ile ni ile mse anaweza ongea ama asikuongelesha. I just remember I was weird in Nairobi town, Tomboya Street. I was driven na gari ya makarau paka Mathare. Kufika huko I was still rampant and weird and what? I just remember nikivuliwa nguo, nikidungwa sindano, nikilalishwa kwa floor bila hivi kwa simeti. And I was told I woke up after 2 days.
38-year-old Pauline says her dream of becoming a journalist was cut short suddenly after she was diagnosed with bipolar in 2007. At the time, she was a first-year student in Nairobi University. She attributes this to stress due to lack of fees.
Mayangu sio generic, ni depression ndo ilisababisha. Admissions zimekuwa karibu 20. Ever since nianze kukuwa admitted 07.
She says she has learned to live with erratic mood swings, although it remains a tall order for her, since many of her kin, colleagues and even friends find it hard to understand.
Kuna day nilislap mama yangu. Nilimslap paka akaanguka chini, slap moja akaanguka chini na akafunga virago vyake mbili akaenda kwao.
Ulikuwa umerelapse at that
time? Hiyo wakati nilikuwa mgonjwa.
So like what do you do kutolipuka?
Kama anaona mahali niko ama mse niko naye anataka kuniprovoke, ndakuachanisha tu hapo.
Catherine Ondele, who is a deputy nurse in charge of Ward 9 at Kakamega Referral Hospital, says although it is a lifetime disease, with proper diagnosis and timely treatment, one can lead a normal life.
Before tufikishe mgonjwa hapa tumepita several places. Utapata walienda kwa waganga, kanisa, waombewe, wakatumia madawa ya kienyeji. Sasa hapo hivi nakuanga last episode kama mtu amechoka kabisa mpaka anasema na yenyewe nasikia, wacha tujaribu.
Many with this condition, which experts refer to as a silent pandemic, lose touch with reality, experience mood swings, a lack of sleep or excessive sleep, loss of interest in daily activities or overworking, isolation, loss of body weight, overconfidence, among others.
Kunikasirisha, kunizomea, then nisisikie njaa.
Data from the Ministry of Health in Kenya shows that 1 in 4 persons seeking outpatient services suffer from a mental illness. Public health and travel medicine specialist Leon Ogoti says there is need for both the national and county governments to focus on mental well-being of its citizens by increasing budgetary allocations to deal with the issues of mental health.
Funding to mental health in this country of our national health budget is 2%. I'm talking about 1 in 4. So how many Kenyans are we? 54 million.
More often, mental illnesses have been attributed to superstition, while some, like Pauline, have been compared to lunatics or madness.
Si nimekwambia wali wananitaga nini? Mlaluambe nje. Ndieni wazimu wa my late father.
Patients with mental disorders are always in denial, hence late diagnosis, while some lose battle to the disease due to high cost of treatment.
Yoyote yule mwenye anaugua ama ana mgonjwa yule ambaye anaugua ugonjwa wa kichwa, asikate tamaa. Pia aombe Mungu sana. God is a present help.
Kile tunataka ni uzima. Saa ingine wanaweza kukombana kusio kupigana. Mimi namwambia poa.
Good mother-in-law.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta formed a mental health task force which recommended increasing budgetary allocation for both national and counties so that hospitals are well equipped and have enough experts to make medication and treatment affordable and accessible to everyone. Recommendations that are yet to be implemented. Those suffering from mental illnesses are encouraged to continue with medication and psychotherapy, exercise, a balanced diet, listen to music that calms and eliminates emotions, as well as joining support groups.
No problem shared is a problem half solved.
Yeah.
Na feel hata roho yangu imekuwa.
No, it's not even half solved, 3/4 solved.
Violet Auma, TV 47.
Thank you, Violet, for that. 30 minutes past 9 p.m. We thank you for staying with us right here on Daily Report. We want to take a short break. When we come back, we still have more on the other side. Do stay with us.
It's bigger. Hourly cash wins. It's the Lotto Metamania. It's raining millions every hour. Siya Ndoto, cheza Lotto Metamania. Ushinde 1 million every hour. Isitoshe, kuna mega grand draw ya hadi 200 million shillings kila Jumatano na Jumamosi. Cheza Lotto sasa. Timiza ndoto zako. Nenda kwa M-Pesa paybill number 777-000. Andika neno chapa kama account name. Cheza la kati shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde sasa. Raundi hii ni more draws, more cash. The Lotto Metamania is here.
Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been approved by the BCLB.
Welcome to the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center, the premier events venue. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed to meet all your needs, from large-scale conferences to intimate meetings and everything in between. Located in the heart of Thika, the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center offers stunning views of the city skyline and is easily accessible from all major transportation hubs. Our facility features ample parking, free Wi-Fi, advanced audiovisual equipment, and our technical team is always on hand to ensure your event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Don't take our word for it. Make your next event unforgettable at the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. Contact us today for bookings and reservations. Email multimedia@mku.ac.ke or call us on 0708 212204 or 0727 441733 or 0721 438 629 to learn more about our services and book your event.
Radio 47 tuko nawe mchana.
Of quality healthcare. In a world where a small gesture can have an enormous impact, TV and Radio 47 invite you to be part of something incredible. Introducing Tenda Wema. With just 1 shilling and 50 cents daily, taken from your airtime or data, you can be the light of change. Dial *354*47# and witness your compassion in action. Every shilling you contribute directly empowers education, healthcare, and community progress. Your 1 shilling and 50 cents might seem like a drop in the ocean, but imagine the ripples it creates. Better access to education, improved healthcare, and a safer environment for all. Remember, every shilling is a building block. Every contribution a step towards progress. Let's ignite Mimini CC into a legacy of change. Let's sculpt a better tomorrow for Kenya. Dial *354*47# to subscribe today. Tenda Wema with TV and Radio 47.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, this is the Daily Report and thank you so much for your splendid company. Masienze village in Ikolomani constituency has been engulfed by a dark cloud as two middle-aged miners died inside a mine. The two were trapped in the 150-foot deep gold mine shaft and succumbed due to suffocation. Residents and local leaders have called upon the government to help with acquisition of proper tools for mining to ensure the safety of Kenyans looking for their livelihood. The bodies of the deceased are being preserved at the Kakamega General Hospital mortuary awaiting autopsy.
The pain and grief can be felt in the voice of Rose Ayuma, a mother who has just lost her only son to the cruel hands of death.
Pokea tu habari mwendo wa saa 5:30 ati ameanguka kwa simu ya court na sijui kama amekufa. Ako na pipi na ako na watoto wawili.
Matron Mutakali has now become a widow after the tragic turn of events.
Ameniacha na watoto wadogo, niko na watoto, sijui nitafanya aje watoto wasome. Mimi mwenyewe sina kazi, niko tu, yeye anatafuta tukikula.
She said she is worried about what awaits her and the children because of her joblessness and dependency on the husband, whose body lies cold in Kakamega General Hospital mortuary alongside that of another miner.
Pamoja na ule rafiki yake mwenye ameenda, mwenye amekuwa naye kwa shimo ndani. Mtusaidie ndio tuishi vizuri. Bure maisha yangu inaenda hatarini.
Residents perturbed by the tragedy that befell the two miners as they sought a livelihood for their families, engulfed in shock and despair.
Benye foreman aliingia, tulimungoja, alikawia. So operator alifuata kwenda kujua foreman ni kazi anafanya ama ni nini. Tena operator akapotelea huko. So tulichukua nafasi, tukachukua mtu mwenye ako na experience, tukamwambia aende step akisikiza. Wakati alienda alifika katikati, akakutana na hiyo hewa.
All they want is for the government to come to the aid of the local mwananchi and help prevent such tragic accidents.
Na tuko na mkasa hapa kwa wachimbaji migodi wawili, wamefariki wakiwa kazini na wamefariki kwa sababu ya hewa mbaya katika shimo.
In as much as mwananchi wa kawaida na ngangana, serikali pia inatufail because una realize they are demanding more about the licenses na hakuna chenye hiyo pesa inasaidia mwananchi. So this is our main economic activity.
However, this is not a first. Earlier this year, a mine collapsed, killing 5 people and trapping and injuring several other miners. Vera Alberta, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, a family in Kisatiru area, Sabatia sub-county in Vihiga County, is pleading for justice following a gruesome murder of their kin by an ex-convict who had just gotten off the hook after serving a 3-year jail term. It is alleged that the late Richard Sandaji, aged 44 and a member of the Nyumba Kumi initiative in the area, was trailing the suspect over some stolen household goods before being attacked and stabbed to death. Our reporter Arnold Adidi narrates the story.
At the late Richard's home in Kisatiro village, Sabatia sub-county, the family is yet to come to terms with the sudden demise of their kin, a member of the Nyumba Kumi initiative who is said to have met his death under unclear circumstances. According to the widow Charity Sandaji, issues emerged between her late husband and the murder suspect after the deceased managed to recover his stolen goods from the suspect who had earlier broke into their home. Allegedly, the suspect, an ex-convict, embarked on a revenge mission.
Kuna wakati alikuja akatuibia hapa na ikawa kuna siku moja akapatikana na overall yake. Wakati alikuwa ameshikwa wakamuuliza ni either uamue wa kuchome ama uende kwa madebe. Kijana akasema acha niende kwa madebe. Zile harakati yenye ilifaa kalie kwenye pikipiki wampeleke kwenye madebe na kijana akatoroka na mama wangu kwa sababu alikuwa na shida ya mguu hangeweza kukimbia kumfuata. Sasa hivyo ndo alikimbia hivyo. Alipotoweka hivyo na akatoweka kabisa. Kisha ndo baadaye hiki kitendo kilikuja kutokea baadaye. Alikuwa amedungwa kisu kwenye mbavu na kwa mkono.
Despite recording a statement with the police and investigations kicking off, the family laments over delayed justice. Weeks since the incident occurred, the suspect is a man on the run, yet to be arrested.
Maombi yangu tu, I just want justice to take place. Watu wamekuwa tu sly. Na huyo kijana tembea hapa mpaka siku ile tulimzika. Alikuwa tu huku. We want justice.
Within the recent past, insecurity has been on the rise in Kisatiru. In response, Vihiga County Commissioner Felix Watakila convened an urgent public baraza in the area.
Wakati County Commissioner aliitisha baraza la dharura hapa Kisatiru na sisi wote tukaishia. Na akatukahakikishia ya kwamba haitachukua muda wa wiki 3 kabla huyo kijana aliyesababisha haya maovu kushikwa. Na alikuja na apparatus zote kutoka juu mpaka chini. Tunaambia County Commissioner Felix ni heko kubwa. Aendelee na hiyo juhudi ya kusaka huyu kijana awekwe kizimbani.
Commissioner Watakila says that some of the ex-convicts within the county are men to watch as they have continually engaged in crime even after serving their jail terms.
Wale walifungwa hatimaye wamaliza vifungo sao na wakaachiliwa wakarejea makwao. Tumekuja kudhibitisha kwamba hao wenzetu hawajabadilika. Wengi hawajabadilika, they have never reformed. Na ni wanaendeleza visa vya uhalifu. Nimeamrisha DCI waendelee kufuatilia jambo hilo kwa ajili ya kuona kwamba huyu mhalifu Elvis Adeka anashikwa na anahukumiwa kwa mujibu wa sheria.
As investigations continue, this family's only plea remains.
Tumewacha yote mbele ya serikali. We just want justice.
Arnold Adidi, TV47, Vihiga.
And we indeed hope justice is served to them. Fish farmers in Siia County have been asked to put in place adequate measures that will help them prevent losses during the much anticipated El Nino rains. Siia County Fish Inspector Mr. Agri Obamba says that since El Nino rains may be very destructive, those who practice cage fishing must now ensure that they service those cages effectively before the rains. And at the same time, Obamba advised those with fish ponds to equally ensure that they put in place proper measures that will prevent their ponds from being swept away. He advised the fish farmers whose fish is due to harvest, rather for harvest, to move with speed and remove them lest they be swept away by the El Nino rains. He stated that county government will continue sensitizing the fishermen on the dangers of El Nino and ensure they don't become victims to its consequences.
What I wanted to say is about the floods alert that is coming from the expected El Nino rains that is just about to start. And we are just saying that for the beaches, I'm only warning them that they be cautious on how they land their boats and also how they keep their documents and equipment inside the banda. Because some of our beaches are getting filled by water up to the banda's level. And therefore that warning will really make them to be alert so that they can know what to do. Also goes to the cage farmers. I also want to appeal to the cage farmers that when they have not done the good service for the cages, the storm may go wipe out the cages. And so I'm advising them that they try to look for new ropes so that they can tie the cages tightly so that they cannot be affected by the storms. Also to the fish farmers, I'm talking to the fish farmers who are doing the ponds. I'm alerting them that with the heavy rains and the floods and the downpour, there may be some chances of flooding of the ponds. Now I'm advising them that if they have a fish that has reached the market size, I'm telling them to go and sell them before the floods. But if the fish are too small, then they can get means of diverting the floods from passing over the fish ponds. Sensitization is going on. We as a program SDSP, we have been sensitizing the beach actors so that they can be alert on such issues. And they have come up with a number of remedies to counter any chances of flooding that may destroy the beach resources.
Indeed, now Sony Sugar stakeholders and farmers have now come out to urge the company to take control and be responsible. This comes after President Ruto had a meeting with stakeholders and assured them that their dues to the government had been waived. The farmers and stakeholders who complained of harassment have also said that it is only right for the company to not overprice products. They say a good way to ensure they benefit is by having the government abolish imported sugar.
Sisi tunaonya hata management lazima wawe serious kabisa, wasijaribu kucheza na pesa ya wakulima tena. Yeah, they must pay. The new team, I know, will have to pay because there will be an agreement, a lease agreement, specifying certain terms that will have to be honored.
Saa hii sukari wananchi nanunua kwa duka 250 na bei ya tan ni just 4,000.
President, we all, as our farmers, we appreciate indeed. Na iko kitu ingine moja tu tutaongeza, kwa sababu president amesema hao wakora atawakalia. Hiyo tuko na yeye.
To the port privatization debate, and opposition leader Raila Odinga has maintained that talks on the privatization of Mombasa port will not proceed without the consent of the county leadership. Speaking during the official launch of the distribution of revision materials to candidates at Mombasa-based secondary schools, Raila said that the coastal leaders should not be sidelined on the port privatization plan. Raila further urged the government to conduct the process in an open manner, adding that they should not violate the rights of the people of Mombasa County. At the same time, Mombasa Governor Abdul Somad Nasir and a section of local leaders urged the government to involve them fully in the plan. They have demanded clarity on the economic value of the concession to Kenyans and the people of the coast region.
Ukiongea juu ya mambo ya concessioning ya bandari ya Mombasa, county government mpaka hiyo mshikadau pale, na ikiwa kimiko board of directors, Mombasa County must have representation in the board of directors ya bandari ya Mombasa. Kwa hivyo tukienda kuongea sasa wakati huu, sisi tumesema, sio ati tunaomba, tunasema ni lazima mambo haya yawekwe kwa njia ya uwazi, sio mbano ya mambo ya kichini chini ya kisirisiri. Mazungumzo yawe mazungumzo ya wazi. Na wakati kama kaa pale, serikali kuu hako pale, labda waziri wa mambo ya mawasiliano hako pale, na governor wa Mombasa hako hapa, na wale wageni ambao wanataka kuja wako hapa. Wakati chini waongee nijulikane Mombasa itapata kiasi gani katika hiyo kampuni ambayo itaendesha mambo ya bandari. Hiyo ndio tumesema. Walisema kama wao watarejesha bandari ya Mombasa. Kumbe ilikuwa ni kuleta Mombasa ili wauze. Na hiyo tumekataa.
Hatupingi mambo ya upanuaji wa bandari, lakini tunapinga kutoweza kuwekwa katika hesabu, kwa sababu tusipowekwa katika hesabu sasa, baada ya kalamu ishaweza kukauka, wino kishaweza kukauka katika ile karatasi, sahauni watu wa Mombasa.
Time now for sports news. And men's marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum earlier today jetted into the country after he broke Eliud Kipchoge's Berlin record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds after clocking 2 hours and 35 seconds in the Chicago Marathon. In a heroic reception held in Nairobi, Kiptum was awarded with 5 million Kenya shillings by the Ministry of Sports, led by Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba. Speaking during the reception, CS Namwamba acknowledged the world record breaker, stating that there is need to appreciate our athletes after great performances, as Kiptum stated that he is ready to battle with Eliud Kipchoge in upcoming events.
For me now, I'm going to take a break, rest a little bit, talk with my management on how I will race in the coming next 2024. That's my plan for now. My plans to go maybe under 200. I've not yet think about of that, but maybe to run faster than my PB. Yeah. For Olympics, if I get chance for I will represent my country, of course. Yeah.
The next question.
Now, the men's national football team, Harambe Stars, has continued sharpening its skills ahead of its international friendly that will be international friendly match against Russia. 14 players who traveled to Russia on Monday continued with their training regiment, including Patrick Matasi, Brian Bwire, Brian Othiambo, Daniel Sakari, among others. 7 other players, including Joseph Okumu, Eric Ouma, Masoud Juma, and Michael Olunga, are expected to connect with the rest of the team on Thursday night. At the same time, talented youngster Daniel Anyembe will represent Harambe Stars in the friendly match after his Danish club Viborg FC released him on time to catch up with the rest of the team ahead of the fixture.
Now, similar guys, coordinate, communicate, ask for the ball. Where do you want? Last pass, very important.
Now, FKF Premier League side AFC Leopards has parted ways with its recently appointed coach Tom Juma by mutual consent. This follows the club's poor start to the season as they are yet to win a match. Juma, who is a former player of the club, had replaced Belgian tactician Patrick Awesome, who turned down a contract extension with the club at the end of last season. Pressure had mounted on Juma with the club